Here's a quick take from the YoJoeShow Podcast.
Thank you very much, everybody. So this is a big, big day, a beautiful day, potentially one of the great days ever in civilization. Things that have been going on for hundreds of years and thousands of years. We're going to, at least we're at a minimum very, very close, and I think we're beyond very close. And I want to, they said, have you spoken to the Arab leaders? Have you spoken to all of the other leaders that we have to get? A lot of people involved in this one. I also want to thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for agreeing to the plan and for trusting that if we work together, we can bring an end to the death and destruction that we've seen for so many years, decades, even centuries, and begin a new chapter of security, peace, and prosperity for the entire region. And I want to just say that my meetings and dialogue that we had with so many countries, Saudi Arabia as an example, the king is a phenomenal person. The Emir of Qatar, he's an incredible people.
Your leadership abroad is changing the world for the better, ending wars and advancing peace. I believe that today we're taking a critical step towards both ending the war in Gaza and setting the stage for dramatically advancing peace in the Middle East, and I think beyond the Middle East, in very important Muslim countries. I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims. It will bring back to Israel all our hostages, dismantle Hamas's military capabilities, end its political rule, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. We would not have achieved this turning point without the courage and sacrifice of our incredibly brave soldiers. They fight like lions to defend the people of Israel, and they serve on the front line in the war between civilization and barbarism. Mr. President, when our two countries stand shoulder to shoulder, we achieve the impossible. Just a few months ago, in Operation Rising Lion and Operation Midnight Hammer, we struck a decisive blow against Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program. Your bold decision to send those B-2s made the region safer and the world safer. Now, under your leadership, we're taking the next step to win the war and expand the peace. Your plan is consistent with the 5 principles my government set for the end of the war and the day after Hamas. Everybody asks, what is your plan for the day after Hamas? Here's our plan. Passed it in the cabinet. All our hostages, both those who are alive and those who died, all of them will return home immediately. Hamas will be disarmed. Gaza will be demilitarized. Israel will retain security responsibility, including a security perimeter for the foreseeable future. And lastly, Gaza will have a peaceful civilian administration that is run neither by Hamas nor by the Palestinian Authority. If Hamas agrees to your plan, Mr. President, the first step will be a modest withdrawal, followed by the release of all our hostages within 72 hours.
Still a lot of questions there, but the huge headline, Hamas says it will release all of the remaining Israeli hostages, living and dead. That's been a huge sticking point for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ever since the war broke out almost 2 years ago exactly. Hamas also agreeing to, quote, hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of independence based on Palestinian national consensus and Arab and Islamic support. Meanwhile, just within the last hour, President Trump responding to the news with this video.
I want to thank the countries that helped me put this together: Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan. and so many others, so many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents and having some of the hostages, unfortunately, you know the condition they're in, come home likewise to their parents, because their parents wanted them just as much as though that young man or young woman were alive. So I just want to let you know that this is a very special day, maybe unprecedented in many ways. It is unprecedented, but thank you all, and thank you all to those great countries that helped. We were given a tremendous amount of help. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that. Thank you all, and everybody will be treated fairly.
And joining us now is NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel. Richard, Hamas also seems to be saying that they are ready to start meeting immediately to iron out the details. Do you see any sticking points ahead here?
There are always going to be sticking points. There are many logistics that need to be worked out. Hamas didn't address all 20 of the points in President Trump's peace plan, but it did agree to the main ones. It did agree to the key principles that Hamas would leave power in Gaza, and critically that it would give back the hostages, that it would hand over all of the hostages that it still has, living and dead. And Hamas is believed to have 48 hostages, 20 of them presumed to be still alive. And Hamas officials said that it can't logistically do that in the next 72 hours, but that it is willing to enter into negotiations so that the logistics can be worked out. In the past, when there have been ceasefires, it did take some time for Hamas to gather the hostages, to work out a handover point with the Red Cross, and to actually make that transaction take place because Gaza is so devastated. There's poor communications, there are blocked roads.
So maybe some of those points. And this was obviously before the release actually happened in the days prior. There's a lot to unpack. The main thing is that the phase one or initial part of the proposed 20-point plan was agreed to. And the main thing that was really being looked at initially was release all the hostages and then subsequently disarm, and that Hamas would no longer be an armed military.
Hamas never agreed to the disarm part, by the way. They only agreed to the phase one, which is the hostages for prisoner exchange.
And they have kept their word to a point, although not surprisingly to me, they are having a hard time locating all the bodies. I can't imagine how good a job they've done over a 2-year period storing bodies of the hostages that died. And so when I heard they were going to release all the hostages, including the deceased, I immediately started wondering if there'd be an issue with them retrieving everybody. The first part of it, of course, as we'll see in the next segments we're going to be posting, the compilation videos, obviously the hostages were released that were alive, but we're still having a challenge in having the bodies of the remaining hostages quote unquote found and released and transported back to Israel.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the 20 living hostages were released. That's the most important thing. They're finally back with their families. So far they released 4, and then I think there was another 2 and another 2. Right. So I think there are still 19 bodies missing. Yes, obviously with the devastation Gaza has been through, it may be hard to find bodies. But also, it's not like they were storing them. They just buried them and sent the location on WhatsApp. So it marked the location somehow. It's worth noting that to Hamas, they understand that these bodies are the most valuable, aside from the living hostages they had, are the most valuable possessions that they could have to guarantee their survival. So I think that they probably know where more of them are than they let out. They are asking for additional things. Israel says that they have info probably from the live hostages where at least 10 of the deceased bodies will be. So hopefully the rest of the deceased bodies will be coming. It is a tactic for Hamas to stall. My question to you, though, why do you think Hamas agreed to this? Right? After years and years of fighting, the best card they had was these hostages, right? Both alive and dead. Why did they just go ahead and give it up out of nowhere? What do you think?
I don't think it was out of nowhere. I think they were pressured. I think the key to this was that Trump was able to get.
We hope you found our quick take segment informative. For more content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and watch the full episode.